Hello everyone, and welcome to the Handhold Havoc Speedrun Guide. In this video, I will show you all the tricks and techniques that I use to get under 31 seconds, so that way you can climb to the top ranks. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. I will not be going over how the monkey power works in this tutorial, as I have already explained it in the Rising Heat tutorial, along with good techniques and practices you can use to improve your time and your speed with the monkey as well. So if you need help with how the monkey works and good ways to increase your climbing speed, so if you haven't already, I highly recommend you watch that tutorial first and then come back to this tutorial. As always, you can customize your button assignments for your controller. In order to do this, you will need to go to your system settings, go up to accessibility, go down to controllers, go to custom button assignments for DualSense wireless controller, and then you will need to enable custom button assignments, and then you can go down to the customized button assignments. I personally like to change the trigger buttons to the bumpers whenever I'm playing these stages. So I will swap my L2 to L1, go over to my R2, swap it to R1, and once you are done customizing your controller, just hit apply. This is what I prefer, but just kind of play around with it, figure out what you like, and use what's best for you. I will be breaking this stage up into 5 sections: the first slide, the bell and wall, the rail, the intersecting walls, and the waterfall. This stage relies more heavily on platforming than it does climbing, but still nonetheless on the climbing sections, you still need to be as accurate as you possibly can. Remember, to cut your time down as much as possible, practice on being accurate more than fast. If you are fast and inaccurate, you will actually go slower. Now let's begin at the first slide section. At the starting ribbon, I nudge Astro just slightly ever to the left. This is to make climbing the wall ahead of us a lot easier and to keep me from grabbing the wrong banana as I try to climb up it. When the stage starts and you break through the ribbon, you'll need to do a jump and a midair spin, and then while you're doing the midair spin, use the slam with the monkey fist to press this button. If you touch the ground then slam the fist, you'll notice that Astro will stop. This way we do the midair spin and then slam the fist, so that way Astro keeps moving forward and does not slow down at all. The timing of pressing this button is not very precise at all, so you should have no trouble with this. After you've pressed the button, you'll want to jump at the very end of this ledge in front of you, and then do a well-timed midair spin, and then a hover, and grab this flower, and as soon as you grab this flower, you're going to want to hit square to propel yourself upward. As you're approaching this climbable wall, make sure you have the left side of the controller tilted slightly down, so that way you do not have to do any motion controls climbing up this first wall. As you are going upwards, what I like to do is I like to look at the flower, and as soon as it passes under this banana on your right, that is whenever I choose to grab this banana and the bar in front of me. I'll show you one little trick I like to use, which makes doing this a lot easier and a little faster. It's hard to learn at first, but once you get used to it, it is a lot easier and simpler to do. So what I like to do is whenever I jump from this button, I hold the left trigger, and I'm going to buffer this first grab on the wall. Here's how it works. Whenever you're in mid-air and then you press a trigger to use the monkey arm, what you're doing is while you're holding it and still in mid-air, you're actually buffering the first grab on the wall. Then whenever you get to a banana on the wall, you will grab it immediately and not have to try to time it. So with that in mind, all you have to do is whenever you use the flower and then you hold the left trigger down, whenever you get close enough, all you have to do is press the right trigger at the correct timing instead of trying to do the left and then the right trigger. You're going to land on this slide next and then go all the way down it to the next wall. This slide, the only thing I will say is try to land as much in the middle as you possibly can, because if you don't, Astro will kind of sway to the side and this will lose you time. Now what you want to do is you want to take this slide all the way to the bottom and make sure you're tilting the right side of the controller down so that way we can prepare for these next couple of grabs. When you're going down the slide, you should already have the right trigger buffered, and when you get to the bottom, do a jump and you'll automatically grab the right banana, and then all you have to do is use the left trigger to grab the left banana. And once you do, you'll just need to quickly bring up the right side and then grab the bar at the top. If you jumped at the very bottom of the slide and then did these 3 inputs correctly, you will notice that Astro will actually launch farther ahead than normal. The key to getting this far launch is not so much speed as much as it is precision. So what you want to do is you want to do 3 very clean inputs. So here's what it looks like when you're holding the controller. You want to start with the right side down, and then you're going to jump and then immediately press the right trigger and then the left trigger shortly afterwards, and then let go of the right trigger and bring that side of the controller up and then press the right trigger again to grab the bar. This is by far the hardest trick in the run to pull off, and every time I get to this section I have to be 100% focused to make sure that I do this correctly. So practice tilting the controller and doing these inputs correctly and accurately. Just kind of start slow and then slowly build up your speed until you get a good feeling for it. Don't try to go crazy and do like your normal climbing motion where you just tilt the controller quickly back and forth. You need accuracy to pull this trick off. So as I stated, before you even just do a run, just sit there and practice this motion and the button inputs and get really comfortable with it. It will help you so much when trying to do this. The difference between getting a forward launch and then the normal launch from this bar is roughly about 20 frames or 0.33 seconds. We will now move on to the second section, which is the bell and wall section. So after you grab the bar and get either a normal launch or a forward launch, what you'll need to do is you'll need to cut across where these coins are and then try to make a straight line to this little platform where the bell's on, but you want to land on the left side of it. This is going to give you a more direct line and save you a lot of time. A good way to know if you're on a good line or a bad line is whenever you get to these coins, you should only pick up the very first coin. If you're kind of close to the left edge and you pick up the second one anyways, it's fine. Your line is probably still really good. But you definitely should not pick up 3 of these coins. If you do, your line is terrible and you need to move more left whenever you get to this part. When you land on this platform where the bell is at, try not to run up to the edge because it will halt you and it will cost you a little bit of time. And it could also prevent you from making this next jump, which is a very precise jump. So what we want to do is we want to jump to this wall and start climbing up it. There is one thing you need to make sure though. Make sure the right side of your controller is tilted down because the first banana we're going to grab is going to be with the right arm. And then once you do that, just start using the left trigger and just start climbing up this wall quickly and accurately. Make sure that you do not stutter while you're climbing up this wall because if you do, then you're going to lose your launch speed when you grab the bar at the top of the wall. We now move on to the third section of the stage, which is the rail section. This is pretty simple, so once you grab the bar at the top of the wall, just do a mid-air spin and a hover to make it to this rail. What I like to do is whenever I do my mid-air spin and my hover, as Astro is starting to fall from the peak of his hover, that's whenever I let go, and it usually puts me right at the beginning of the rail. Now this timing will be different depending on when you do your mid-air spin and when you time your hover. So just kind of play around with it and see what works for you. Before you get to the end of this rail, you'll need to switch over so that way you do not die to this electric orb. And then you're going to need to do 2 jumps on this rail. You're going to need to do 1 jump so that way you can set up the jump off of the rail. As crazy as it may sound, you actually do not want to jump off of this rail at the earliest opportunity. You actually want to jump off about a quarter of a second after the earliest opportunity. So I use this baluster post sticking out of the water as a guide of whenever I need to jump. So the earliest opportunity would be to jump right whenever you're above this baluster. But you want to wait just a little bit afterwards. So whenever I see Astro past this, that's whenever I do my first jump on this rail. And your second jump needs to be as soon as you hit the rail so that way you can get a good launch from the rail. Once you do your second jump, you're going to need to do a well-timed mid-air spin and a hover. And then you're going to want to land on top of this ledge and then jump on the slide and start going down it. I like to aim for this little support right here at the top of the slide. This is a good place to be so that way you can jump on the slide as soon as you possibly can. Just as with the first slide, you're going to want to land somewhat in the middle of it so that way you do not sway to the left and right as you're going down it. We now reach the fourth section of the stage, which is the intersecting walls. This is by far the most finicky and worst part of the entire stage. All I can say is when you reach the bottom of the slide and you jump off to get onto the wall, just climb as fast as you possibly can and just hope for the best. Sometimes you'll just get a bad turn where Astro will get stuck or he will start going diagonal. There's really nothing you can do to prevent this. This is just bad luck. You may have noticed other runners that whenever they start climbing up the wall that they actually go through this electrical line. They actually don't go through it, they go under it. It's really hard to see, but Astro completely misses it so that way he does not get electrocuted. Strangely enough, if you do a restart on the stage instead of respawning, that will allow you to get through it. If you just do a respawn, it seems like you will always get caught by it. There are seldom times where you don't, but for most part you will. So whenever you're going to try the stage again, go through the menu, do restart, so that way you do not get caught on this electrical line. Once you reach the top, due to just climbing through the electrical current, whenever you grab this bar, it should just go ahead and throw you up to the bar above it. And then you should be able to just grab the bar above you and then launch from it to get to the final section of the stage. There is one thing I want to note. The setup on this bar is very important for the last section of the stage. If you are not in the correct spot, you're going to lose some time. So I like to land on the left side of this big coin, and where I like to be is where I just barely grab the big coin. There are different spots on the bar that work for this last section as well, but this is the one I like and I'm most comfortable with, so this is the one that I'm going to show you. So once you launch from the bar, you're going to go to this last section, which is the waterfall section. When you initially land, you're going to land on an ice platform, which is going to give Astro more speed. So if you did not get on a good spot on the bar, then what will happen is you'll land in the middle of the cracks as the ice platform is breaking, and it will actually take away your speed. The difference between getting the fast ice and the slow ice is roughly about 54 frames or about 0.900 seconds. Now, one other thing I like to do is once I land, I do a jump so that way I can maintain that speed and not have to worry about skating across the cracks in the ground and accidentally dropping it. So once you go across, just grab this hourglass, throw it so that way you can stop the waterfall, and then you're going to need to do a well-timed jump and hover to start climbing up this waterfall as soon as you possibly can. So the visual marker I like to use is whenever I'm doing my hover, as soon as I see the lasers from Astro's hover start touching this electrical platform below him, I know I can start climbing now because this is the earliest opportunity I'm going to have, so that way I can save as much time as I can. This is the only section of stage where I will say you do not have to try to count out the amount of climbs you need or anything like that. Just go at a fast, accurate pace for you, and do not stop doing it until you know for a fact you have grabbed a final bar to end the stage. And of course, once you've grabbed the final bar, don't forget to push your left stick forward so that you land on the button and end the stage. And here's a run with me using all of these strategies. I hope you enjoyed this video and that has helped you get your times lower for this stage. And as always, be sure to follow me on Twitch if you want to see me do these runs live. If you still need some help, you can leave a comment below, or you can join my Discord where I am always helping out everyone who needs some help. And members of my Discord has also helped me make these videos by telling me if there are parts that need to be clarified or if something is over-explained. And they also just kind of help me choose a thumbnail for the video and whatnot. So if you want to be a part of that process, you can be sure to join. And if you need some more help, feel free to join the Speedrun.com Astrobot Speedrun Discord, which I will be dropping a link to both of these Discords and my Twitch channel in the description, so you can find those there. And with that, I am done with this stupid monkey, and I will see you all in the next video. Good luck with your runs.